Is a ball of clay this size pushing you around? Which one of you is actually stronger? This probably weighs about a pound, maybe a little more. I didn't weigh it. I never weigh my clay, by the way, usually. Sometimes I do, rarely. Anyway, either way, I weigh way more than this ball of clay. And yet I see people being pushed around all the time on the wheel by something so small. It's kind of like being scared of a tiny little bug. You're huge, it's little, what's the problem? The problem is that you're not centering properly because this is pushing you around. And today I'm going to show you how to prevent that. So the next time you're throwing on the wheel, I really want you to pay attention to what your arms are doing. If you look down and you see that your arms are moving at all, it means that you're not centered in your body. And when we want to move something heavy across, let's say a piano across the room, we don't just start pushing with our arms. We anchor ourselves in our body and we lean into that heavy object with our whole body weight. And that's exactly what you need to do when you're working on the wheel. You need to pretend that you're pushing something heavy across the room and you have to have your elbows and your arms anchored into your body. So I'm a right-handed thrower. If you're left-handed, this will be the reverse for you, but I take my left elbow and I put it as close as I can to my belly button. I know that there's different availabilities of flexibility and movement in everybody's body, so just get it as close as you can. But what you're looking for is to see that you're anchored into your body and not floating and not being pushed around at all by your clay. So if you can get that happening, you will have a huge impact on the clay. The other thing that we want to look for is the wrist and the angle at which we're coming at the clay. So even if you were anchored in your body, but you're still trying to come at it from the side, you're not using the power of your weight behind the clay. So angle your hand at about a 90-degree angle from your arm, and then push in, coming straight out from your body. So you're not pushing in from the side at all, it is straight out. Now, if you've done all of those things, and you're still not seeing results, get somebody to come up behind you and push against your hips. This really helps you feel the movement, because I can describe this till I'm blue in the face, but until I actually physically come up behind my students and I lean into their bodies with my body weight and show them how it feels, it's very hard for them to get the concept. So if you have somebody, a neighbor, a friend, a family member just coming up behind you and doing that to you, you will notice how it feels, which is worth 1,000 words. And then the last thing is to just stay steady. I made a video about this called Confusing Your Clay. And in that video, I mentioned that people tend to jump around sometimes on the wheel. And if you're doing that, no matter how much you're anchored in your body, you are never going to get centered because you're not allowing the clay time to respond to you. So that is the other little golden nugget, is take time, allow the clay to respond to you. If you are leaning in with your body weight and you are steady and you are strong, then there's no reason why your clay shouldn't become centered if you give it time. You also, of course, want to make sure that you're adding lots of water to your clay during this whole process. That is extremely important. If there's any friction at all, you're going to not become centered or tear the clay off the wheel. And then the other couple of things to mention is with the wrist coming straight out from your body, you want to make sure, if you're very flexible in your joints, that you're not overextending your wrist. So you don't want to go past that 90-degree angle. You want to make sure that you're not I can't do it, but I have seen people that are more flexible than I am in the wrist that almost come too far, and then you're putting strain and pressure on your wrist and we could hurt ourselves. So we don't want that. And then the other thing is, if I'm throwing something really, really big, sometimes when I've thrown the sinks, which I will be showing you at some point, I use a whole bag of clay, if not more, for those. And when I'm doing that, even leaning in with my body weight from a seated position isn't enough. So I'll often even get up out of my seat when I'm throwing something really big and push into the clay with my entire body weight behind it. And then one more thing to mention is your proximity to the wheel. So none of this can happen if you're floating way back here. I do see some people trying to approach the wheel and they're sitting too far away. So you really want to make sure to pull yourself right up against your catch basin so you can push your whole body weight behind your clay. So that's it for the pottery demo portion of this video. I hope you found that helpful. I would love to hear in the comments below if you found that helpful for your centering. I want to take you up to our guest suites next. So we built a straw bale homestead here, and pretty much everything inside both buildings is handmade. I've been able to make a lot of things out of clay, including the shower tiles, the sinks, the light sconces, the dishes, etc. But I also have created a lot of the furniture in the buildings, and I also do a lot of sewing. So all of the sheets are handmade, the linens, the towels, the curtains, and my clothes. So I thought I would tell you in case you like to sew as well. This is the Sarah Stay top by Blank Slate Patterns, and I'm wearing the Dawn jeans by Megan Nielsen. The shirt is made out of a cotton, dead stock cotton that I got from Blackbird Fabric, and the pants are a stretch corduroy from Simplify Fabric. So I think it's so nice to surround ourselves with all these handmade objects, and throughout these videos I'm going to be sharing with you the basically living art project that I have created and live in and also run as my business, which is amazing. So without further ado, let's get up and check out those shower tiles. So here I am coming at you from our other guest suite shower. These tiles are actually the exact same as the other shower that I showed in my last video, and if you haven't seen that, I'll make sure to link that video at the end of this one because I described the process of how I made the tiles. I'm going to skip past that just so I'm not repeating myself. But I wanted to give you a couple more details. So this was a dark brown clay and it has a turquoise matte glaze on it, both cone 6. There was an issue I had with the matte glaze, so if you are thinking of making shower tiles, this may be something you want to stay away from. I ended up seeing a lot of weird discoloration on the base of the shower due to, I think, the porosity of the glaze, because I haven't seen it at all with any of my other tiles that I've made for showers, which are glazed in shiny glazes. It's not terrible. It almost looks like a glaze that breaks over a raised surface. And it does tend to bring out the texture a little bit more, but I have to say it's not a look that I prefer because it does look like it needs to be scrubbed off in my opinion, and it doesn't come off. So that is something to be aware of. You might want to go with a shiny glaze if you're doing shower tiles. I made all these tiles with this beautiful Indian blockwood stamp, which I found on Etsy years ago. I don't know what shop, but I think they're all individually made anyway, so I don't think you would be able to find the exact same one, but there's lots out there similar. I remember spending hours finding just the right one, and it was worth it. But I wanted to say something about taking a textured stamp and pushing it into your clay. I didn't mention this in the last video, but if your clay has any tackiness to it at all, if it's sticky in any way, then it's going to get this all gummed up and it's not going to take a nice impression. So whenever you're placing a stamp or something that you want to texture onto your clay, unless it's a bisque stamp, because sometimes those they're absorbent enough to not stick, but any other surface, this is wood, you don't want to have any tackiness to your clay. So the best way to get rid of that is to sprinkle your clay quite liberally with cornstarch and then brush it into the whole surface. So just take your hand and wipe around until it's not powdery anymore. And it will be the most beautiful texture you've ever felt probably in your life. It's like the softest leather. It almost feels like skin. It's like clay skin, but it's the most beautiful, soft, smooth texture that I've ever felt. It's like I just want to take it and rub it up against my cheeks when I do it. But it's maybe something you want to try just for the sensation of it. It's so beautiful. But that takes any stickiness out of the clay. So when you do push your stamp into it, you get this beautiful clean impression while the clay is still soft enough to make that clean impression. And then the last thing I wanted to mention about these tiles is how to grout them. I did mention in the previous video that I had a really hard time. I grouted that shower before I grouted this one, so I had learned a good lesson. That one I had smeared the grout over the whole surface, expecting just to be able to wipe it off, and that was not my experience. It was a pain and it was hardening fast and it was very stressful. So what I did for this shower was I actually put all my grout in a big Ziploc baggie, and then I cut the corner off the baggie and I used it like a piping bag to go in between and around each tile. So this took a long time, and it still did get in some of the little bits, and I still had to use a wet paintbrush and kind of clean out all the little grooves, but it was a lot better. So if you're doing textured tiles that you're going to grout, I suggest using that method of putting your grout in a piping bag. I think that's it for today's video. I would love to hear about it if you're inspired to make any tiles for yourself. It's a great beginner project. Anybody can do it. If you can roll out a slab of clay, you can make tiles. And there's so many different ways you can make them. You can imprint them, you can draw designs on them, you can carve into them, you can build up with different layers of clay and create some relief tiles. It goes on and on. You can also take plaster castings of an original tile and then mass produce it. So if you want to put a lot of detail into one piece, you don't have to do that for every single one. Or you can go really simple and plain, which is usually the way I go now with a lot of my pottery, and that's just clean, simple shapes and lines. So I hope that you've enjoyed this video and found the tips useful and found me sharing these things that I've made inspiring. And I look forward to sharing more things in the next video. I'm not sure what that will be yet, so if you have any questions or comments, leave them down below. If there's anything specifically you would like to see me tackle or mention or show, please let me know there as well. Thanks so much for joining me, and I look forward to being back soon. Take care.